When the news actually was said out loud that I had Parkinson's by the neurologist, I was absolutely stunned. I almost felt as though I'd had an arrow in my heart, sort of thing. It was the kind of shock that you don't expect to have. I've spoken to a lot of people about their diagnosis. People have had a range of experiences, I think it's true to say.
I felt uncertain.
I was depressed, didn't know what to do.
I was shocked.
I wasn't expecting it.
It was a surprise and it wasn't.
And I just didn't know whether to feel sad.
I went numb, just wanting to crumble.
I was extremely happy to know what it was.
It did feel too young. The disappointment and the anger and the fearfulness all sort of came out.
Slowly, you know, I accepted.
After 6 months or so, I just decided, well, let me go on living my life.
Compared to last year at this time, I'm in such a better place than I was before.
Don't change, because Parkinson's doesn't progress quite that quickly, and you need a bit of time to regroup before you decide how you're going to go forward.
It's very difficult to explain to people what happens with Parkinson's. It affects people differently.
When my mum was first diagnosed with Parkinson's, I felt quite confused because I didn't know much about the condition.
I knew nothing. It's only when we realised and he was diagnosed with Parkinson's that we started researching and finding out things and reading about it.
To be in control of anything, you really need to know what's what. You know, lots of information about something.
I did the wrong thing and looked on the internet and read too much about it and read the wrong stuff. So I got all the wrong messages saying, basically telling me my life was over.
You go into a downward spiral because you read all the things that could happen. It's quite frightening.
I thought I was headed for the old people's home pretty soon.
You start saying, oh, to hell with this. We're not going to let this defeat us.
Because you hear people of, oh, I have Parkinson's 20 years, 30 years, you know.
It's not an illness, it's a condition. So I started saying, I'm not going to lie down and take it, I'm going to fight it.
None of us know when we're going to die, so the best thing is to get on with living.
There is no cure, but it doesn't mean to say that there won't be. There's amazing research going on all the time. It's very impressive how many sort of research projects one sees around.
If I had known about you guys, I would have got the right information and the support that I'm getting now.
Parkinson's UK has been my main source of support. The meetings, the support worker.
Every Parkinson patient is entirely different. So each person had to find out what his problem is and then find a solution.
Knowing the options, knowing the pros and cons of each option is how you make a decision, isn't it?
As far as your symptoms, you can control it very well with medication, and you can do things for yourself with movement and exercise.
I think the best thing to do is to work at building a relationship with your consultant. Everyone can do that to a degree. He or she are not just prescribing, here you are, take 3 of these with water or whatever. It's a decision that you've arrived at.
You will have to ask for some help at some point. So I think the earlier you do it and the earlier you start, the better it will be long term, because it will give not only the person who has the condition but yourself time to adjust to it.
Well, I was worried about my family and how they would react. Even when I went to my GP appointments with neurologists and whatever at the hospital, I didn't even tell Brona.
When I got Parkinson's, I kind of socially withdrew myself a bit from my friends, and I kept in contact with some of them, and some of them I lost contact with because I felt like they didn't understand. So, yeah, the social network grew a little bit smaller, I think. But that was because of me, because I didn't want to have to explain to people and kind of have them judge me.
Those 3 little words, I have Parkinson's, wouldn't come out So my management plan was to get to the point where I could say that, and I could tell people, I could look them in the eye and I could tell people.
It's very easy to think, I can't face talking to this person because they will know all sorts of things I don't want them to know.
Be more open and talk things through with people. Having that bit of support and Brona's been a rock. Her words were, we'll deal with it as we, it's nothing to worry about. We'll work our way through it.
The blow of the diagnosis was cushioned by the fact that I've got family. Like, I've got an amazing sister in Bedford. She's really supportive as well.
I think everybody has rallied around me, my family, my friends. Support has been tremendous.
But when I told my children, I sort of sat them all down together on the sofa and just came out with it. But one of the things I did say was, it's not life-threatening, because that's what their first concerns were.
Friends are brilliant. We don't talk about my condition. I try not to affect me, and if something happens I can't move, then we just get on with life.
Some people go the other way and decide they don't want people to know. I definitely did want people to know.
Brona felt that it was better just to get it out there, and I took her advice, and it was the best thing to do.
Some people like to hide their illnesses, but I don't. And I would like some of the people like my condition to come forward and take the help.
I think it's also about having somebody that you can talk to who is also in the know, because they have the same condition. I would say myself it's as important as having the medical team there, or having a Parkinson's nurse to go and talk to.
People have got so much to offer in the way of supporting you, and they want to help you, but they don't know how. And if you tell them, they couldn't be more delighted than but to do it.
I've been very lucky, I have to say. Yeah, Ian's the kind of guy that just drops in and helps you with any little job, and just comes around for a cup of coffee, and is aware that sometimes I will be at home by myself.
And I feel at home with people with Parkinson's. I don't have to explain my tremor.
You can be afraid that you might meet people that are worse off than you, and you won't like that, but underneath the surface there's a lot of really genuine people that have Parkinson's, and very good people. Ian was running a fish and chip shop before he got diagnosed, and I was a clown, so we're from very different walks of life.
It's true what they say. In my opinion, a problem shared is a problem halved. Every day can be a challenge, but not necessarily with Paul. I just meant with the condition.
I am a challenge.
Yeah.
He's always been very positive, and so we try and be the same for him. And I think that's probably the only way to look at it and not let it beat you.
Most of the time I can just sail on with it, and it doesn't get in my way, because I think it's about having a positive attitude towards it. If I feel like I'm going to have a bad day, I can either let it get me down or say, go away.
Some people are really worried, thinking, oh, in 20 years' time this will happen. Why worry about 20 years' time?
And sometimes you build a massive obstacle to getting out, but then once you're out the front door, once you pass that threshold, it's just like, it's not that bad. So for instance, like now, I'm like, should we go to the park? Because now I'm out, I could take over the world.
It's not just about me anyway, it's about the boys. If I'm not in a good place, they're not. And we've all got to get on with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes I think, oh, I can't do this today. But it is all about what's going on in your head.
Ride the storm, like be with your family, and if something does go wrong, make sure you know, like, don't get worried at all.
I can still move forward. I can actually become better at something if I put my mind to it.
Don't beat yourself up if you're not okay. Like, don't feel guilty if you can't do it. Because I've had a lot of that, like a lot of beating myself up and thinking, oh my God, I should be doing this, and oh my God, I should be doing the laundry, and oh my God, I should be doing this, and not being able to even get up off the couch. So do you know what? Parkinson's is hard enough without you beating yourself up, I think, and without you like being your own worst critic. So I think that's something that I've had to learn.
What I didn't like was she trying to sort of pretend everything was fine when I could see that she was had low days, had days when it sort of built up and got too strong. Some of it was just simply, come on, we're going to go for a good walk, and I want to get this out of my system, and we're going to talk about it.
I always imagined everyone was looking at me, which isn't the case. People just, if we were out for a coffee or whatever, and I would sit on my hands, or I would hold myself tight, you know, hands under my arms, and nobody cares. I just go with the flow now, and if I shake, I shake. There's nothing I can do about it.
Parkinson's teaches you to do your best, even though things don't work as they should or how you think they should. So you have to praise yourself. Okay, I've done something good. I've walked to town, maybe not the day before, but today I managed. Why be hard on yourself? Because this disease is hard enough. You don't need any more of that.
I've got to remain positive, remain confident. Yeah, I might check, but if I started stopping in the house all the time and letting the looks of other people start to affect me, then it's going to get me down.
I think you need a variety of things in your life.
When I'm doing karate, I'm in control. Certainly has helped me big time.
I must exercise. Exercise, exercise, exercise.
Love shopping and I love going out to eat.
I cooked a meal today. It's a great thing. I've cooked a meal for someone else, even better.
I play badminton twice a week. In the winter, if I can't go out anywhere, I got a treadmill in the garage.
We have a lovely time, don't we, Freddie? Goal, very good. I really love it, pottering with my pots.
I still get down to the allotment. I've got some wonderful marrows. I've got the golf I play. I go cycling.
Singing as well, that's my other pastime.
Oh, the dancing helps quite a lot. Do singing and dancing.
The drawings are mostly done in the early hours of the morning when I'm not sleeping. Bob Hoskins, Muhammad Ali, they were all people with Parkinson's.
And mentally, I do the crosswords. I'm a member of the local branch. I represent the team in Domino's.
Building a model railway has helped me in particular. It's soothing, it's relaxing. It also helps hand-to-eye coordination.
Maybe have a relaxing bath and choose some music.
You can do most things you want to do. It just takes a lot more time, effort and sometimes more planning.
There's a temptation which a lot of people fall into of trying to ignore it and battle on and struggle with things that you could do before. It's more effective if you can find ways to work around Parkinson's and take it away from the centre of your life.
Multitasking is very difficult for people with Parkinson's. I think it's difficult for a lot of people. But what I found myself saying is like, I'm just doing this right now. So if I was tying my shoelaces and somebody was giving me information about another part of the day, I'd say, I'm just tying my shoelaces, and then we can talk about that. Because really now I need to concentrate.
Like speaking especially, your voice is dropping. So now I heard when I went to this Parkinson nurse, what you have to do is think loud. I never thought of that.
You have to wait on your medication kicking in, and there are days where it takes slightly longer to work than others.
Yeah.
Or you have completely off days where it just doesn't work. Challenge yourself to work around it.
I'm an inveterate planner. I plan a lot. I make a lot of lists. I do things in advance, and I love doing them, and I think all those things help.
We used to go for lots of parties for Diwalis and things, but nowadays I avoid going for these late parties, but still I go 50% times.
On the whole, I try not to cancel the plans I made, because I think that actually 9 times out of 10, if you continue to do what you're going to do anyway, you feel better. There are times though when I just think actually to go out is just one thing too many, so I make an excuse and I don't go, but not very often.
I went to Australia with some very good friends, stayed with them a month, and it was an action-filled calendar, and I just, after the first week I was exhausted. I just had to say, look, you know, you'll have to go a bit slower because I'm unable to continue at this pace.
Struggle on, you know, if I'm okay to do that, but not if you got to the point of breaking. You have to say, call the cavalry. It's okay, you can say that.
And I go home and I kind of re-energise myself. I see my girlfriends and I see my family and I see my mum, and my mum helps me with her. I get re-energised and then I come back.
Christopher is very good at picking up the vibes. He knows when I'm having a bad day, and I'm getting better at telling him anyway, but to begin with I wasn't, because I thought, you know, I've got to cope with this on my own. You don't have to cope with it on your own.
It's tempting for people to think that there's nothing can be done and that inevitably their quality of life is going to go downhill. There's a great deal that they can do to improve their well-being.
I guess I am semi-retired in that technical sense, but I haven't sort of stopped living yet. I asked if I could space the 2 days over the week. That break in the middle is quite important so that I can keep going. I don't want to wear myself out too soon.
I'm a police officer. Work has been fabulous. I just love working.
When I was discovered with Parkinson, I went and told my management about the illness and I want to retire. And I was told, no, that's only a condition, it takes a long time to get effect. We can't let you go, carry on. We'll look after you. And they did look after me and I carried on.
Legally, you don't have to tell your employer, but I would say there are benefits to think about whether you tell them or not, but you'll know your employer as to whether that will be a sensible thing for you or not.
Some companies make every adjustment they can and support people to continue working as much as they can and to go part-time and gradually. Other organisations don't want to know, don't make any adjustment. And coping with that, it's helped greatly if you can get support from a group like Parkinson's UK.
I think it's good to get involved with some other activity where there are Parkinson's people, but not only that. Try to go to other things where you are just a person enjoying a group, doing something.
What I get from volunteering is that feeling of helping others. I do that well in order to, round the houses, help me really.
I did want to get involved with some of the Parkinson's things. I try and help out at the support groups as much as possible.
They were looking for someone to take the newsletter on at the Halifax Parkinson's branch. It's something I can do. I can use a computer. I can illustrate. I can write. It's quite a lot of work, but I can do it from home. And you know, if I'm up in the night, I'll do a little bit, or if I'm up early, I'll do some, or late at night. I can just do it when I have the energy to do it, and when I don't, I don't.
Having been self-employed and quite happy to deal with money and bank accounts and VAT and anything else, I decided that I'd put my name down for the treasurer.
I think it's important to share skills. I'm never happier than when I'm with other people. All of that makes me feel useful, you know, there's a reason for me, sort of thing.
I think we're here to be useful to people. If your life needs a purpose, it's to be useful. I'm a vicar by trade. Right up until the day I die, I hope to be able to still put people in touch with each other and still make sure that they can answer their own questions.
We're not just passive people being handed lots of information. We're actually creating our own community. It just makes me feel I belong to something, and just belonging to something and being seen and being recognised makes all the difference.
The amount of help that I've been given through Parkinson's UK is priceless. If I can do a small amount to help someone in a similar situation as myself, then so be it.
The reason I'm interested in Parkinson's research is so that they can find a cure or improve on the medication to make life easier for people who suffer from it. My aim is to help others.
Instead of going to school every day, I do something on the computer. I do some websites. I do talks practically once a month all over the UK. So it's completely changed my life. It's been much more exciting.
Last October I decided I wanted to do something. First thing I thought, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump out of an airplane. I just wanted to prove a point really, more than anything. Because just because I've been diagnosed doesn't mean that I've stopped living. And if I could do it, then anybody could if they put their mind to it. What was even better was I raised £2,000 for doing it, which was brilliant.
If you'd told me 4 years ago, I'd have been sitting on a park bench discussing topics in front of a camera, let alone, you know, face to face, I'd have said, no way, not on this earth, but and here we are.
We need to have a voice. We'll never be able to speak and stand up and make a lot of noise if there's not enough voices to shout it out in the first place.
Get involved. Get involved.
Coming to terms with a diagnosis of Parkinson's is pretty traumatic. Having Parkinson's is something I don't want, but I've met unbelievable friends and I've had fantastic opportunities to do things that I probably would have never have done.
I think you find out in time what kind of person you are with Parkinson's.
Nobody knows how this illness is going to progress.
You don't know what it's going to look like, but you know what today looks like.
Well, my philosophy on life these days is every day's the best Snickers day.
Take each day as it comes. Every day is going to be a good day, hopefully.
My focus is not on Parkinson's, it's on living.
Sometimes it's frustrating. I'm not going to allow it to take over me.
And don't wait for someone to come along and help you. Go out and help yourself.
Don't let this thing ruin your life.
Don't wait to live your life. Live it now.
Keep positive.
Be positive, live today.
I might have Parkinson's, but the Parkinson's doesn't have me.